Wendi has been a guiding light in my life since I first met her. She couldn't have been more meaningful or valuable to me in my life than a sister would have been. The qualities that Wendi's held on to all of her life are exactly the same, and then she's just added more to them. She's learned to manage the conflicts of being a mother, going to school, working in the profession, and then contributing to the profession. She has tirelessly worked to help all the people she's ever worked with or been friends with to succeed, and particularly in the profession of law. I do not know many women who could have done it as well and as effectively as she did, and she did it relentlessly. She absolutely never gave up, and that is just true in everything that she does.
The Brent Award speaks to all of the work that she did for women's rights. She's just always been dedicated to serving underserved populations and dedicated to women's rights and the rights of minorities. I know that she is famous for the results she's obtained for her clients. She combines a will of steel with the power of reason. She would always seek the solution rather than the struggle. And there's a very long list of individuals whose lives have been changed dramatically. I think the thing I'm most grateful for is how amazing she's been as a mother to our two amazing daughters. She's guided them, encouraged them, nurtured them, and made them understand that they never, ever have to accept being less than in any way.
When you ask what Wendi is like, the first thing that comes to mind is focus and no nonsense. Probably best exemplified by what she did when we were attempting to get an amendment to Model Rule 8.4G before the House of Delegates of the ABA. There was never any explicit language prohibiting harassment or discrimination in that rule. And it's the model rule deals with ethics. And as everybody knows, ethics are extremely important to lawyers. They have to live by this, they die by it. And yet that rule was devoid of any clear language that said certain conduct is expressly prohibited. So now if you look at the model rule, it expressly prohibits conduct a lawyer knows or reasonably should know is harassment or discrimination on the basis of race, sex, etc. Wendi is someone that I hold up as a role model myself. So that's what I mean when I talk about someone who's focused and no nonsense. She says what she means, and she means what she says.
Ever since 2003, we became very close friends very quickly. And I think it just was a perfect match in terms of what you would hope for your profession. I do not think my life would be the same. My path would have been very different professionally, but also personally. Again, I think I am the kind of woman that I am partially because of Wendi's impact and input. And watching Wendi be so successful, but also so wonderful and nurturing and supportive to not just me, but a lot of other people around her and lots of women around her. And I've been so fortunate to see her represent really female leaders in various industries, which is so important. She uplifts women by the way that she represents them and the results that she gets for them. Kind of as a woman, you look for a role model that you want to emulate. And she was all of the things that I wanted to be as a professional woman.
Thank you all so much. Thanks to President Rifo, immediate past President Martinez, Stephanie, Maureen for their kind words, and to the incredible commission staff, Melissa, Laura, and the commissioners who worked so hard to make this so special. It is an honor to be amongst such a distinguished group of Brent recipients. I also want to thank the Commission for providing opportunities to give back to women in our profession, and especially to my dear friend Michelle Mays for her inspiring leadership. Thank you to my firm Outten Golden, especially Catherine Blostein and my team. Thank you to my family, my husband, a true partner in every sense, my two accomplished daughters, who continue to make me so very proud. My mom and dad, who taught me I could do anything. And to my grandchildren, who remind me of the awesome responsibility I have to leave the world better than I found it. The ABA and the New York State Bar have been my professional home for over 20 years, and I am grateful to have so many of my colleagues here tonight. This award is the greatest confirmation of my decision to become a lawyer. I started my career as a TV journalist and worked my way from below the line to producing feature films. What media and law have in common is that they both involve storytelling and reveal human vulnerability and behavior. However, as a filmmaker, you are often a voyeur, portraying a character or situation for others to see. Even in documentary film, you can expose a truth, but it is not a filmmaker's job to respond to that truth. I became a lawyer so that I could do more than just tell stories, but also change their course. Not merely expose injustice, but to help eradicate it. In both of my careers, I have had the privilege of telling people stories, but as a lawyer, I know that these stories can lead to personal and systemic change. Early on, as a litigator, my clients were being deported for having HIV, then considered a communicable disease despite advances in AZT. After a long battle, we won our case, and their lives changed forever. Since then, I have represented individuals in gender, race, and other discrimination and transactional cases, and learned that some of the most successful cases, the most impactful in changing one's story, were those that didn't make the headlines and were not litigated, but were resolved through conciliation. I have also been privileged to serve legal organizations to promote real change for women and seek to transform culture and behavior. At the ABA, we passed important resolutions and Model Rule 8.4G against all forms of discrimination, which was at once historic and long overdue. But model rules and resolutions are only aspirational. We need to fight to really enact lasting change. While this award in many ways is an expression of a career's worth of achievement, I know my work is not yet done. I became a lawyer so that I could change the trajectory of history, elevate justice, and uphold the Constitution. Isn't that the oath we take? Over these last few months, in response to the COVID pandemic, thousands of healthcare workers have gone into the ER to save lives and risk theirs. This is their moral imperative. This is what they were trained to do. Today as well, we face a legal pandemic, and our task is not as much to save lives, but to save our society. This is what we were trained to do. To bring a police officer to justice when a Black man is choked to death for no reason. To defend a woman's right to reproductive freedom. To send Harvey Weinstein to jail. To stand up for justice and uphold the law which protects each American's right to vote. We have a moral imperative as lawyers, not because this is how we make our living, but because we are the keepers of the gate and society looks to us for truth and guidance. We have a chance in 2020 to end the year with a different story, to change the dynamic and reimagine America. As lawyers, we have the power, the skills, and the voices. All we need to do is act. Thank you all so much.